Yes, sir. If Republicans take the House this fall, Democrats may be looking for a new leader to replace Nancy Pelosi. Different names have been mentioned, like Jim Clyburn and Steny Hoyer and Hakeem Jeffries and Catherine Clark and others. Who Democrats choose as their leader after the midterms is up to them. But recently a name surfaced that you might find interesting and familiar. Adam Schiff is telling House Democrats he wants to be their leader. Schiff is a darling of the D.C. media, but maybe not his colleagues. He wasn't picked for a role in the Biden administration, wasn't picked to be in the Senate when Kamala Harris left, and wasn't picked to be the AG in California when Javier Becerra left. But he's not deterred. He wants to be the new speaker or minority leader. And I don't think New York Times or Politico reporters get to vote in that race, so I doubt Adam has much of a chance. But let's ask someone who used to sit right beside him. Former House Intel Chairman Devin Nunes joins us now. Devin, I do not doubt Adam Schiff's ambition for 1 minute, but I'd be surprised if his colleagues on the Democrat side picked him to be their leader. What do you think?
Well, Trey, I think that both you and I can attest that we don't miss sitting right next to him, and I think most of his colleagues do not either. So he's got two primary problems. One is he's a straight white Jewish dude, and if you haven't been paying attention for the last 10 years, essentially they've run, if you're not a different letter of some kind or a certain color or a certain gender or your sexual preference, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be the leader of the Democratic Party anytime soon. But for Schiff, he's got another problem, and that is, how many dead ends of hoaxes has this guy run us into? So remember, the Russia hoax, he was all over it. You and I were sitting there with him. It was constant nonsense with him out doing fake leaks, phony leaks, totally disingenuous. Then, of course, you had the Ukraine impeachment hoax. Trey, a lot of people forget this. It was initiated by him. So he has taken the Democratic Party into so many of these rat holes. And then not to mention what you were talking about with Senator Grassley, who, by the way, is an American patriot. I think our investigation of the Russia hoax would not have been as successful if we didn't have somebody like Senator Grassley there with his fortitude and his ability to sniff through all the nonsense and get right to the heart of problems. But if you remember, the Hunter Biden laptop story, as you mentioned, was also something that he went out and perpetuated. So between, I think, him not matching what the Democratic Party wants, because essentially they have to have a certain type of person as their leader, and I think match with the rabbit holes that he's brought him into, I think, Trey, it's going to be a hard place for him to be.
Devin, I don't think I have enough time left to write this book because my life expectancy is probably only about 30 years, but I was going to write a book, all the things we would never know if we had listened to Adam Schiff. I mean, you started with the Russian collusion. I first met him in Benghazi, and there was no one who did more to keep the American people from finding out information than Adam Schiff. It looks to me, I'm not from California, but he was passed over by the Biden administration. Gavin Newsom did not pick him for the U.S. Senate or to be Attorney General. I mean, is he just running into dead ends? And he probably going to be the minority, maybe the ranking member on Intel. Is he just running out of options?
Well, look, I think you also have the fact that the Republican leadership, our old colleagues, have already said the way that some Republicans have been treated, being booted off of committees, the way that Pelosi set up this January 6th scam committee and booted off certain members. There's some members who don't even have committees. I think Kevin McCarthy and others have said pretty clearly, look, a guy like this, like Schiff, is a threat to national security. And there's a few others, I think, that are on the committee. I think, Trey, you and I both know this because of their tendency to, veer from the truth. And look, I think it's fitting that Schiff represents Hollywood. He's, I think, always in acting mode, if I think there's lack of a better definition. And look, this is a guy, as you well know, he can sit there and tell you right to your face that, oh my gosh, it is pitch black outside, and it'll be high noon. And he will tell you that story over and over again. And of course, the media, for the most part, has long went along with him. And I think that's what's perpetuated, his career in Congress. Because I can tell you, if you or I or Senator Grassley or anybody else that's been on the show tonight would have would have done the scams and the hoaxes that this guy has led the American people into, we would have been run out of town a long, long time ago.
And you know, Devin, what used to fascinate me when I was there is I could get a pack of bloodhounds and a bunch of sleuths, and I could not find a negative word written about Adam Schiff in Politico, The Hill, The Washington Post, or New York Times. Despite striking out on so many investigations, they love to beat up on Devin Nunes. But I honestly, a pack of bloodhounds could not find a negative sentence written about him. But I got to keep my blood pressure down, so I'm going to say thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. I'll have you on to talk about a more pleasant topic next time. Thank you, Devin Nunes.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.